80 MPs from Uttar Pradesh, 42 MPs from West Bengal, or 48 MPs from Maharashtra, or 39 MPs from Tamil Nadu. But in Arunachal, we have only 2 MPs. For a person like me, coming from such a difficult, very far away border area, is sitting as a cabinet minister for the country. This is not possible if there was no Modi ji. Everything Modi ji does is in a totalitarian kind of a picture, complete picture. I genuinely feel, whether it's Congress party or Communist party, if anybody thinks for the nation, he will appreciate Modi ji. Rahul Gandhi has so much hatred for Modi ji. It's like so visible. Rahul Gandhi hates Modi ji. See, Rahul Gandhi is on bail. Sonia Gandhi is on bail. Many of these Congress leaders are on bail. Lalu Yadav is on bail, convicted. Arvind Kejriwal is in jail. Sanjay Singh is on bail. Manish Sisodia is in jail. So they are either in jail or bail. Under Modi ji, forget about doing any corrupt acts. My village did not have roads. I used to see aeroplanes, but I never used to see vehicles because there were no roads. So the Congress time, the Defence Minister A.K. Antony had stated on the floor of the House in the Parliament that it was the policy of the Congress government not to develop the border areas. So you got my point. The Chinese were always coming forward, developing roads and other things along the borderlands. We are doing now under Modi ji's time. So something, the nation should know it.
And welcome you watching Republic Podcast with me, Shavan Sen. Today, the guest that we have, he's always seen as the most dynamic leader of the Modi cabinet. And for many of us who've been from the Northeast, there was a point in time, ladies and gentlemen, we always thought, why is it that politicians from the Northeast isn't really projected in the manner that they should? Why is it that the Northeast has never been projected as an integral part? Over the last few years, there has been a complete change in the discourse, and perhaps to the credit of the Modi government, to have a minister as dynamic as Mr. Rijiju, you've been able to bring a change in the Northeast discourse. Let me begin by asking you, hits and misses of Kiren Rijiju as the face of Northeast. An honest assessment. Would you say that there have been certain misses on your part too?
Well, I think I have been honest throughout my life. I have given my best. If there are things which are to be done, or which are, if you feel or people feel I missed it, I will definitely try to cover up in the days to come. But I think I have thoroughly enjoyed my job as a minister, as a member of parliament, and I have served to the core of my ability, and it is quite visible. I'm happy that northeastern region and my state of Arunachal Pradesh is no more the region which was neglected, isolated, unrecognized. Now it is well known. Thanks to Prime Minister Modi ji, Northeast is in the focus.
Minister Rijiju, let me also tell a lot the audience who are not from the Northeast. The culture that we have seen in our home states is that there has been always a direct connect that the locals have with their mantri. The mantri concept is very different. You've just come back from the campaigning in Arunachal Pradesh. What is it that the people have to say? Are they satisfied, or would they say that there is a lot more to be done to integrate? And I'll also talk about some of the things that you spoke back in 2017 about the vision that you had. But your first take of the campaign that you've had in Arunachal Pradesh.
Right now, the mood of the nation is very well known. Same is what is prevailing in Northeast. In my constituency in Arunachal Pradesh, there is a tremendous shift in a way in which people understand development. When I started my campaign in 1999 and in 2004 election, before I became member of parliament, I used to walk throughout my campaign 70%. Now I hardly walk because every village is connected with roads. Even to the border points, which were 7 days, 8 days on foot march, are now connected with roads, 4G network, basic amenities are available, electricity, gas supply, water supply. These are all available in the villages. So now people's expectation has raised, uh, in a way it is positive, but politically sometimes it's more challenging because the expectation has risen so much. So I can say that the political culture has shifted little bit, but for me, my ability to connect with the people remains same. I used to connect with the people that time, now also, and people don't understand in a pure sense that somebody has become cabinet minister, he is too busy looking after affairs for the whole country. They don't think like that in my constituency. They feel that I'm their MP and I should be available anytime, 24 hours for them. So that is how people expect me to be with them all the time, and I'm always, available to them. But challenges are more because expectations are very high now.
Can I ask you this question? Because, for many of us, like I come from the Northeast too, there was a period when we first moved out from the Northeast and started working outside. There was this alienation, a lot of alienation, because I remember when I went to Mumbai, there was a colleague of mine who said that Shillong जाने के लिए passport चाहिए होता क्या? That concept was there for a very long time. Within politics also, if I may ask you, you are not someone from Uttar Pradesh, you are from the Northeast, political capital may not be enough. So was there a period when you were not taken very seriously because you don't bring in a lot of MPs along with you?
That is very critical question you have put. See, when I stand up or my MPs, other colleagues stand up, we are very few. 80 MPs from Uttar Pradesh stand up together in the parliament makes a huge difference. 42 MPs from West Bengal or 48 MPs from Maharashtra or 39 MPs from Tamil Nadu. Likewise, there are big states. But in Arunachal, we have only 2 MPs. Combined Northeast, we have only 25 Lok Sabha MPs. So number-wise, we are a handicap. But in the beginning itself, to ensure that I overcome the numbers by quality, thereby, quality can match quantity in a way by your presentation, by your performance. So I started giving my best right from the day one. I still remember within 6 months of my tenure in the Lok Sabha, Advaniji, who was our leader of opposition, asked me to lead the debate about very important discussion in the Lok Sabha. So that was a trust at a very initial stage itself. I could create impact. So I'm very excited that from 2004 to 2009, the media group adjudged me as one of the top young members of parliament. So I still remember the handicap initially I faced for just a couple of months, very initial stage. I quickly overcame because I started being very vocal. So outside, people say that there are muscle power, but I believed in vocal power. So I used it and I was recognized very, at the early stage. And then later on, thanks to Modi ji, I became a minister and also a cabinet minister. So that has given lots of leverage to me to stand up. And now, of course, people think that, whatever assignment Prime Minister has given to me, I have delivered honestly.
What's the most bizarre question that you've ever been asked about the Northeast when you first came into Delhi, or you've gone to any other place, even from your colleagues? You may not want to name some of your colleagues, but what's the most bizarre thing that you recollect?
See, when in the college, I used to introduce myself. I'm from Arunachal, so people hardly know it. And people don't take seriously. So, within the friend circle, of course, we are okay, but outside the friend circle, people were not aware of Northeast or they don't care. What struck me most was when I became member of parliament at a very young age. When I started speaking, as I said, I was very vocal. I won't name one of my friend, from BJP. He said, "यार किरण तुम तो बहुत अच्छा बोल लेते हो." So that means they don't expect people from Northeast to speak. Then, as a tribal, as a person from the border area, people think that we are very confined to our local issues. We cannot talk about national, international issues. We can't talk about something which are in their domain, like economic policies, defense issues, strategic matters. But I, from the very beginning, put all my efforts to understand issues which are international, strategic, economic, environment. So I was not confined to issues related to my state alone. I was all over. So thereby people started taking me seriously. And secondly, when I started speaking in Hindi, the MPs from North India especially, they used to be amazed that I could speak Hindi so fluently, eloquently. So I used to tell them, आप लोग को तो पता ही नहीं, हम लोग भी उतना ही हिंदी बोल सकते हैं जितना आप बोल सकते हैं. So these are the initial hiccups, but I did not allow all these things to become hurdles on my way.
When you came to Delhi, and of course the rise that you've seen within the Bharatiya Janata Party, I've heard from you many a times that you've credited the role of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. When you entered politics, the role model that you've essentially seen, who was it, and have you been able to achieve that?
See, there are many role models, but as a parliamentarian, because when I entered the parliament, there were stalwarts like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, L.K. Advani, George Fernandes, Sushma Swaraj, Arun Jaitley, Chandrasekhar, Pranab Mukherjee. So there were, great parliamentarians from all across. But the person, if I say, who inspired the most is definitely Atal Bihari Vajpayee, because unfortunately I could not see his old videos because there were no Lok Sabha videos those days. But I could see his debates much later, late 80s and especially after 90. So I used to get lots of inspirations as well as lots of lessons from Vajpayee ji, and also lots of other members of parliaments who were extremely great orators. Secondly, what Vajpayee ji inspired me most was that, you don't need to be always serious, you can enjoy your work, you can be light-hearted and be pleasant all the time. So these are important things which I inculcated.
What one advice that you'll remember lifelong?
See, when I lost the election in 99, I went to Vajpayee ji. So Ram Naik ji, who was the petroleum minister, he was also sitting there. So Atal ji asked me, Kiran, kya hal hai? I said, Atal ji, मैं तो चुनाव हार गया हूँ. So before Atal ji could respond, Ram Naik ji said, अरे किरण क्या चिंता करते हो? अटल जी भी पहले चुनाव हारे थे. So after a pause, Atal ji said, अच्छा राम नाइक का चले है तो सबको पहले चुनाव हारना चाहिए क्या? So like that, he was, very light-hearted, very jovial, make you comfortable and, give you tips, lessons and all. But then, organizationally, Modi ji is the one who gave the energy, because Modi ji was General Secretary organization those days and I was General Secretary in my state BJP. So Modi ji used to say, never think that you are jobless or you are weak, even in opposition. There are plenty of works. You just get yourself involved with the works. There were many tips. I can't share everything because it's quite long and too many. But what Modi ji specifically told us was, never be away from things or events which are happening. Be part of it. involved in it. Even if you are not officially part of it, but still try to be part of the event. So, when Modi ji was General Secretary organization, I learned the organizational skills. The organizational skills of the party is something I feel Modi ji has taught not only me, everyone in BJP. And then when he became Chief Minister of Gujarat, I met him there and I told him that why everybody says in Gujarat that जो भी करेगा वो ठीक ही करेगा क्योंकि मोदी जी है. So the faith of the people that whatever Modi ji will do, it will be good for the people. So that was the confidence which I saw amongst the people. So I asked him that whenever in Gujarat everybody says that Modi ji जब तक है तो फिर कोई चिंता नहीं है. So Modi ji said, देखो भरोसा लोगों का जीतना पड़ता है, लोगों का दिल जीतना पड़ता है. आपका मेहनत करो. Just do your work honestly, perform it. People will trust you. You have to establish your credibility amongst the people. So these are important tips. And when Modi ji became Prime Minister, from the day one, I was part of his Council of Ministers. So then it's a different story.
I was coming to that because in the 9 years, the kind of varied experience that you've had from various ministries, be it the Home Ministry, then the Law Ministry, and of course not to forget, within the media we don't speak about the Ministry of Earth Sciences so much, but very interesting work that has been done, which I'll also touch upon, and I want the viewers to understand what happens when you're looking at an expedition that is being carried out in Arctic. But I want to ask you, you worked very closely with the Prime Minister. There is a lot of talk about Modi hai to mumkin hai. Is it just a slogan or clarion call that you are only doing because you feel that that is the only path to success today? What is it as a minister that you thought that is very different than perhaps previous Prime Ministers? How does it work very differently with him?
See, I have not worked with other Prime Ministers, but I definitely know how other Prime Ministers function, how Modi ji functions. In the previous government, all the governments I'm saying, there were huge disconnect between the ministries and Prime Minister's office. And Prime Ministers were never hands-on with everything which are going around. But Modi ji and the PMO is hands-on in everything. All the schemes, all the programs which are, going around are properly monitored and followed up by the Prime Minister himself. So we ministers are always on our toes. There is no scope for any kind of relaxation, any kind of laziness. It will not work. Modi ji wants performance. It is not only for the ministers, members of parliaments, BJP karyakartas. You can't take rest in Modi ji's regime. Rest assured, everything will be successful. There's nothing called failure under Modi ji's regime. I have personally seen so many things. Initially, we used to think that Modi ji has given so many tasks. How can we complete within time frame? But now we are so used to that whatever Prime Minister says, he has a long-term planning. He doesn't think in compartmental. He connects with all the dots. He thinks in a stretch of things. Like, for example, if he had opened the Jan Dhan accounts in 2014, many people used to say that, what is the use of accounts when there is no money in the account? Now that account is used to get the direct benefit transfer. These accounts have become a kind of an identity for the rural village people. Everything is connected. JAM, Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, mobile. See how Modi ji is connected for the benefit of the people. So everything Modi ji does is in a totalitarian kind of a picture, complete picture. It's nothing called in isolations. That is why his style of functioning also is whole of the government approach. Means nothing works in isolation. There is, nothing called working in silos. Individually, right hand is doing something which the left hand doesn't know. No, this is not possible under Modi ji. There are so many things to learn. Every cabinet meeting, every council of ministers meeting, every party meeting, you learn so many things from Modi ji. Whenever Prime Minister speaks, you have to pay attention. There are so many things to pick up and learn. It's not just that I am his colleague as a cabinet minister, but as a BJP Karyakarta, we are able to contribute so much for the country. No, he has been strict with everybody, but he is a patient listener. I have never seen a person, forget about Prime Minister, Minister, officer. I have never seen a person in my lifetime who can listen so much the way Modi ji listens. He listens so much, he hardly speaks. He has all the time for anybody who visits him. He listens, and then finally he responds, and that too very precisely.
This is also the report card season. So I'm asking you this because when I go to my editor also, as an editor myself, I'm also on my toes that report card kya hai? And I'll be asked questions. A little nervousness is there. When you go to your boss, is there a sense of a little fear that, okay, I have to ensure that all the work that has been given to me is completed on time? Was there a moment where you felt a little fearful of the Prime Minister, the very fact that he's a very hard taskmaster?
See, Modi ji makes you feel so comfortable. You really don't worry, or you don't really get any kind of nervousness or any moment to take aback. Nothing. He makes you feel comfortable. And moreover, he's very rational. If you perform, if you deliver, he will trust you more. So maybe, sometimes amongst the colleagues, members of parliament, when Modi ji said, like, "Aap log ye kaam kijiye," if many people have not done it, then of course they feel that, "Arey, Prime Minister ne hum logon ko ye kaha tha, hum pura nahi kar paya." Some task, some kind of like sports events, cultural events, some kind of activities to reach out to the people. Sometimes Prime Minister sets certain targets which party or the government functionaries are unable to complete due to some reasons. But then he understands. So that is why one man at the helm of the affairs, connected with every individual, remembers the names, he is detailed about everything. He leaves no stone unturned to get the things done. So it's in a way, a proud moment and a privileged moment for anybody to work with him. In fact, many people told me that whenever they met Prime Minister, they have come back extremely happy and excited.
Is there anything that you would say the hallmark of these 9 years working with the Prime Minister, which you would say, is very different and something that you'll cherish the most?
What is that indelible thing which remains in my mind is we have become professional. We are not part-time now. Earlier we used to work a bit of this, bit of that. Now we work complete, 365, and the nation has benefited so much. I had travelled abroad as a member of parliament, and now I am now, travelling as a minister. The difference is something unimaginable. Now, India is perceived as a great nation which can lead the world. It's unimaginable just 15 years back. Nobody could think that India can be a global leader. We were just a follower. We were not taken seriously by any other nations. But now India is not only taken seriously, but India is well respected thanks to Modi ji. These are things which is not a political matter. I genuinely feel, whether it's Congress party or Communist party, if anybody thinks for the nation, he will appreciate Modi ji, because Modi ji has done so much for the nation. And For a person like me, coming from such a difficult, very far away border area, who has walked throughout life during school days, is sitting as a cabinet minister for the country. This is not possible if there was no Modi ji. You know, Arunachal Pradesh used to have deputy ministers, minister of state for some insignificant, smaller ministries. But when I was made, MOS home, then I was looking after youth affairs, sports, Ayush. Then I became the first tribal law minister of this country. Now I am looking after earth sciences as well as food processing industries. Two ministries are with me right now. These are, something which doesn't come easily to a person like me. These responsibilities which have come to me is something which is impossible if there is no visionary leader like Modi ji.
So you don't see Northeast again as from the prism of just politics, but more keeping in mind that it's an inalienable part of our country and the fact that it should be projected. Let me then ask you, Minister Rijiju, because what has happened over the last few years is that you've also been seen as Minister Rijiju very obsessed with Rahul Gandhi, because you've been very articulate. You've hit out at Rahul Gandhi at the drop of the hat. So are you obsessed with Rahul Gandhi?
No, what happened was in 2015, Congress party did some press conference and they targeted me on an issue which has nothing to do with me. About one hydropower project, I had written a letter. I had written a letter to the power minister for releasing payment for few lakhs, and they made it a story that why minister should write a letter for payment. That means minister is part of the corruption. Since that day, I said Rahul Gandhi and his team, they have targeted me. I will hit back. But later on, I realized that Rahul Gandhi, as a leader of Congress party, has not only damaged Congress party, but he has diminished the standards of the parliament. He is the boss of Congress party, but he has essentially no ingredients, no quality to be a great parliamentarian. He comes to parliament with a written speech, maybe tutored by some NGOs and all. He repeats that again and again. So there's nothing called that great, parliamentary debates, what we used to see. So he has really spoiled the parliamentary proceedings. So I'm very upset with Rahul Gandhi's attitude. He doesn't pay attention to what people say. He comes out and he says whatever he had to say and he just, runs out. So that way I feel that such a person always, targeting Prime Minister, and then he goes outside, in US, America, elsewhere, and he speaks ill about India. So these are something which I cannot tolerate. I am quite vocal in that sense. I can't just keep mum, because when anybody, abuses my country, then I feel that nobody should be quiet. If you attack, political parties, each other, that's okay. And we will never have a Prime Minister like Modi ji again. And to abuse him in a personal capacity, that's something unfortunate. And Rahul Gandhi has so much hatred for Modi ji. It's like so visible. Rahul Gandhi hates Modi ji.
So it's not the BJP, you are saying it's only Prime Minister that he targets?
Politically, if they target BJP and we target Congress, it's understandable. But when somebody targets the image of the nation, an image of the leader, and that too, on all kind of, frivolous grounds, all made up by people who are, influenced by the anti-social elements. Like whenever Rahul Gandhi goes to America or Europe, he is always surrounded by anti-India groups, all, known faces which we all know. He is always influenced by people who work against India's interests. And he jails with them, and then he will speak everything bad about India.
But some would argue then, why is it that you are in power, you are in the government, why is it that you will not take action against any leader who has sided with inimical elements, and especially keeping in mind that you are siding with people with history of only damaging the nation. So the question should also be asked about the government. What is the government really doing? That government did not take any action against them.
See, there are certain things which comes under the rule book. If anybody violates, there will be action. But there are some grey areas, like sedition charges according to the law. It's very debatable. Some people feel that they can go to any extent to speak in the name of freedom of expression, even to the extent of causing harm to the national interest. But we are from a political ideology. We will not compromise on national interest. So the laws which are there are blurred. It's a bit in a grey zone. So if somebody goes to foreign country and speaks ill about India, under what provision government can take action? These are something which should be debated. So Rahul Gandhi and some of these Congress leaders, they go abroad, they appreciate other countries but abuse our country. They will tell people in Germany to intervene. What is our internal matter, like that.
Do you see a pattern? Because when Arvind Kejriwal was arrested, you had statements being made by certain foreign countries. The United States of America making a statement, the UN making a statement about the free and fair election. The reason why many are asking this also, and I'll bring in a slight northeast connection also, because today if we look at the Gayaram politics, many would say northeast exemplifies it. Some would say you were credited for bringing half of the Congress legislators in Arunachal to the BJP fold. So this question, I'm mixing it together. One, do you see a pattern in the way the West or the global community is reacting to some of the arrests that have taken place? And second, with regards to damaging what many would say the opposition.
See, you have to understand everything in perspective. Arvind Kejriwal is not the first chief minister who has gone to jail on corruption. But all other chief ministers have resigned. Even look at Uma Bharti ji. The charges was political. So when the Karnataka police filed the charge sheet, Uma Bharti ji resigned. Many cases are there. The latest is the Shibu Soren's son, Hemant Soren. Hemant Soren, when he was about to be arrested, he resigned. Did anybody utter a word about Hemant Soren? No. Nobody spoke. In fact, Hemant Soren was the chief minister of a bigger state. Delhi is a union territory. Nobody spoke against Hemant Soren or his arrest or anything. But why only in Rahul Gandhi or Kejriwal, foreign institutes or foreign governments started speaking out? You can very well understand. These people like Rahul Gandhi, people like Arvind Kejriwal, they will go to any extent to portray themselves as hero and portray the country as villain. That is most unfortunate, where I normally speak out in such issues. I can't remain quiet because it is something to do with defending national interest or national image. There are many people, along with Kejriwal and Rahul Gandhi, there are many people in our country. Some people in the courts, some retired judges or some lawyers or some people working in NGOs. There are many people who collaborate with each other. There is an ecosystem. For example, I'll give you a very perfect example. The left wing group, this Maoist, so they call themselves left liberal. but they are most illiberal because they don't accept others. So these so-called leftists, they are hardly 5-6% in the total, calculation of our population. But they occupy 90% of the space in social media, media discussion, newspaper, even in the foreign medias. Because they have collaborators outside the country. The ecosystem is so big that if the nationalists speak something, it doesn't become news. If nationalists are doing something good, it doesn't go around as a viral. But if these leftists do something, it becomes international news. For example, if a Hindu is assassinated, injured, or something happens to a Hindu in India, it doesn't become international news. But if somebody from other religion is, involved in something small incident also, it becomes news. Because the ecosystem works in that fashion. That is why I feel that these people, they use the power and the influence which are living and existing outside India. They use them for their political benefits but causing harm to the nation. I will never ever tolerate such things. So people like Kejriwal, Rahul Gandhi and these leftists, they are never useful for India and they will always be harmful for India's interest, and we should be very, not only we, everybody should be mindful for that.
But when you hear this criticism of the Bharatiya Janata Party that it has almost become like a washing machine. This is a common refrain that you would hear in this election season, that of the 25 opposition leaders that have gone into the Bharatiya Janata Party, at least 23 of them have had cases that were shut by the Enforcement Directorate or the Central Bureau of Investigation. So this entire thing that Arvind Kejriwal also said, that this is a political case. This is only to frame the Aam Aadmi Party because the Bharatiya Janata Party is afraid of the rise of the opposition, particularly the Aam Aadmi Party.
No, we should not go into this kind of political propaganda by Aam Aadmi Party and Congress Party and left people. Because Arvind Kejriwal has been involved in corruption not only for this excise policy, but many other things. Many of your journalist colleagues have told us that he has, conducted himself in such a way that the wealth of Delhi, people's money, has been just thrown around to build his image, to pay people for his image promotion. He controls the media, and then he will accuse us that we are controlling the media. They speak the most, but they will again shout around saying that they are not allowed to speak. Like Rahul Gandhi, he keeps speaking 24 hours. He speaks in the foreign countries. He speaks in the parliament. He speaks daily everywhere. But he goes out and tells that he is not allowed to speak in India. Same is Kejriwal. They are the people who are most corrupt. See, Rahul Gandhi is on bail. Sonia Gandhi is on bail. Many of these Congress leaders are on bail. Lalu Yadav is on bail, convicted. Arvind Kejriwal is in jail. Sanjay Singh is on bail. Manish Sisodia is in jail. So they are either in jail or bail. If there was nothing substantial about their corrupt acts, why would court take cognizance of that? So, we need not get into the, political mudslinging, all these things. We should just confine to the factual things. Modi ji and BJP is very clear. Under Modi ji, forget about doing any corrupt acts. You can't even think of corruption. There's no scope for any corrupt practice under Modi ji.
The opposition is hit out saying that the electoral bond is the biggest corruption that the Bharatiya Janata Party has indulged in.
Electoral bond, what audacity these people have, such opinion to say.
They are saying that, for example, in the Enforcement Directorate's case, Sharath Reddy being the one in the liquor scam paid the money. Then, of course, his statement was recorded, statement reflected Arvind Kejriwal. They are linking that to it.
See,
that
let
this
me
is a-
tell you,
this is a scam.
let me tell you, honestly, I will not go into details about this electoral bond. I just want to make a very, parallel remark. How many states BJP is in power? And how many states Congress and other parties are in power? If you see all India. And how much money we got? Plus, we are in the central government. Central government of India itself is half of India if you really count in terms of revenue. So, government of India, BJP and NDA. Half of India, all big states, BJP government. How come opposition got so much of money? I would dare to say, if Congress or these people were in the government, we would have received nothing. But under Modi ji, they got such a huge money, yet they are accusing us. It's a shameful thing. Can anybody accept such kind of, irresponsible accusations and remarks?
Let me also take this because it's the election season and Rahul Gandhi has spoken about this outside many a times, and there has been minority persecution. The reason why I'm asking you this, Minister, you yourself are a minority. And perhaps the world needs to listen to this because there have been instances where we have seen lynching taking place in our country. So would you then say that yes, there have been instances which we need to look into and law should take its own course, or would you simply say these are aberrations?
See, before 2014, mob lynching, communal riots, these were daily affairs. If you see the records of the Home Ministry, the crime branch reports and everything, communal violence, communal clashes have reduced to negligible numbers. Before 2014, it used to be a daily affairs. Mob lynching used to take place almost everywhere before Modi ji became Prime Minister. But they are discovering new words and these allegations and this propaganda only to tarnish the image of our government. So, they should understand whether mob lynching is happening now or then, we should condemn. But they are talking as if bad things are happening in India only after 2014.
So what will you tell them in terms of an assurance to the larger public, even the audience outside India, the condition of minorities in our country?
I will tell you. When there were problems in Tibet in 1959, the Tibetans came to India. When there were problems in Myanmar, the activists all came to India. When there were religious persecutions and other issues happening in Bangladesh, they all came to India. There were problems in Pakistan and Afghanistan. They all came to India as refugees. When there were problems in Sri Lanka, the Sri Lankan Tamils came to India. So there are so many problems happening around India in the neighborhood. They all took refuge in India. Has anybody gone out of India and taken refuge in those countries? Modi ji is Prime Minister since 2014. Give me one name who has run away from India and taken refuge in one of these neighboring countries. Not a single. It is a matter of great shame that these people are Indian. Our opposition parties are also Indians. And they are shaming India. I am a Buddhist. I will tell you with great pain and satisfaction together. Before 2014, we were just namesake minorities. We were not given any kind of recognition. Can you imagine? I am the first Buddhist cabinet minister of India. The first tribal law minister of India. this could become only because of Modi ji. What minorities' safety and status these people are talking about? For them, minorities means only Muslims. And by playing the appeasement policy and vote bank politics, this Congress and leftists, they have destroyed the status of Muslims also.
But they accuse you of playing appeasement politics even through a
No.
CAA.
There is no scope for appeasement politics in BJP. Our philosophy is very simple.
Would you say that you take all communities together?
See, we can't appease anybody. Appeasement is a worst
Even
form
for
of
the
politics.
majority.
It is the justification which are delivered by your action. If I'm doing something good, it is not appeasement. But if you are doing something only to get votes, then that is appeasement. Ram Mandir is not appeasement. Ram Mandir is not political agenda or not political issue. It is a civilizational matter. It's a pride for India that Ram Mandir has been rebuilt
They say,
in the birthplace of Lord Ram.
but they say that it is the most political thing because when you have the Prime Minister going for the Pran Pratishtha, they say that you made it political.
Yes, Prime Minister is the Prime Minister of the country. He should have gone and he had gone and everybody is very happy.
So you're saying that's not part of a political agenda?
How can that be politics? To build Ram Mandir cannot be politics.
The other issue is about the Congress Manifesto, and the Congress Manifesto largely deals about how they feel if they are in power, they would have dealt with, for instance, China. And the reason why I'm asking you this, Minister, is because when you were in Arunachal Pradesh just about a few days ago, there was a massive controversy with China renaming, several places, and you were very vocal about it. I want to ask you this. Congress says that if they come to power, there will be a status quo ante, which would essentially mean that it will be what before Galwan, what the situation was like. And they say they are accusing you by saying that land has been taken away by the Chinese and the BJP government is shying away from admitting that it has.
First of all, let me use some strong words. It's very important that I use strong words. Nehru had said in 1961, while going to Colombo in the Palam airport, while responding to some questions of the journalist, he said, I have ordered the army to throw the Chinese out. He sounded so arrogant. But what happened thereafter? He did not build army. He in fact weakened Indian army. He had no vision, no planning, nothing. And China humiliated us in 1962. Then Rahul Gandhi in 2020 said, he will throw out the Chinese in 15 minutes. Is it proper for a leader to speak such language? Should we go to war with China without any preparation? War is most serious thing for anybody. We cannot talk about war just like that as a fashion. Congress party through a policy did not develop the border areas because Congress felt that if they build roads in the border areas, Chinese will use that road and enter inside our territory. When Aksai Chin was occupied by the Chinese, Nehru said, not a blade of grass grows in that areas. What is the use of that land? Why the precious time of parliament is being wasted?
They say this for Kachati.
When Tawang was merged with India in 1951, Nehru literally scolded the Governor Daulat Ram that under whose permission did you send the force to take Tawang? Just imagine, look at this series of incidents. Today, if Arunachal Pradesh and the entire northern border is secured, it's only because Modi ji is building roads and other basic infrastructures along the border areas. We are not encroaching into the Chinese control side. We are building and developing our own territory. Now Chinese are complaining that Modi government is constructing so many things in the border areas. That means what? Chinese were very happy with the Congress government because Congress people were not doing anything to develop the border areas. So that is why there are now confrontations and tensions happening along the border areas because we are developing it. Modi ji is developing our own land, our own territory. That is why Chinese are upset. Should we not develop these areas just because it will upset the Chinese? What was the Congress party's leader Rahul Gandhi's content of MOU signed with the Communist Party of China in 2008? So the language of Rahul Gandhi and the left people are basically sounds of propaganda for the Chinese Communist Party. We are not going to invade any other countries. We are peaceful countries. We are a country which would love to have a peaceful coexistence with our neighboring countries. But at the same time, Modi ji has clearly defined the red line that we will not harm others, but nobody can harm us. That is why the border areas are being secured. The major road infrastructures, advanced landing grounds, railway lines, tunnels, bridges, these are built now. What were Congress people doing for 60 years? They were fooling around, selling our lands, compromising with national security. It is only Modi ji who is securing every inch of our territory.
I read a paper that you had written. This is part of a book in the Northeast where you've largely spoken about the development in the border villages. Do you still believe that there is a bigger challenge right now in terms of developing the areas in the border villages, keeping in mind that whether you like it or you don't, this government also does not want to provoke the Chinese at this point in time?
Now, why would we unnecessarily provoke? We are doing whatever is good for us.
But then there are two images that come in.
We are not going to please the Chinese or antagonize anybody intentionally. We are doing what is good for India.
But there are two images that come in. When it comes to Pakistan, the BJP government says, "Ghar mein ghus kar marunga." When it comes to Chinese, you are saying that, look here, there is a red line. So we will not cross the Lakshman Rekha.
So the challenges and the situations are different. Pakistan and India border is porous. It was same country divided. Now divided by fencing. Pakistan and India have a very shared history. Whereas the Chinese side is totally divided by Himalayas. In fact, we were not having any physical, connection with China until Tibet became part of China. So these two issues are different.
The development of a cellar tunnel, which of course from the military perspective has a different ramification altogether. Do you believe that's also a trigger point, the reason why the Chinese seem to be a little aggressive right now, keeping in mind with the statements that have come in? Even yesterday I saw a statement coming in the Global Times with regards to Elon Musk when it comes to Elon Musk coming to India. That also has a different connotation altogether. How do you really look at all these things together from the Chinese perspective?
See, Chinese were always aggressive. It's only now that we are confronting because we are now building our infrastructure in the border areas. Those days, it was only Chinese side who were doing it. So the Congress time, the Defense Minister A.K. Antony had stated on the floor of the House in the Parliament that it was the policy of the Congress government not to develop the border areas. So you got my point. The Chinese were always coming forward, developing roads and other things along the borderlines. We are doing now under Modi ji's time.
You also make a mention of the fact that much before, even before the BJP government coming to power, you've written about the fact that you've voiced the condition in Arunachal Pradesh long back, saying that this will come across as a major threat. What was the response that you got in the past?
See, when I was opposition MP, the response from the government was always, very mute. They will be silent, or at the most they will say that when times come, we will build roads and all. I was wondering, what was the reason that my village did not have roads? I used to see aeroplanes, but I never used to see vehicles because there were no roads. It was only when Atalji started this Pradhan Mantri Gram Sarak Yojana, we started getting roads in some of the villages. But highways, railways, airways, it is happening only under Modi ji. So something, the nation should know it. How Congress party had sacrificed our development for their internal politics, for their ideology.
Let me also take one more question with you with regards to Manipur, because keeping in mind that you are from the northeast, you were asked many a times this question, why were you silent about this entire issue? The government today says, even the Prime Minister has given an interview to a northeastern newspaper, where he says that we have been able to control it. Despite that, the allegation that has been leveled that after 200 deaths that have taken place in Manipur, how is it that the BJP government is actually saying that they've been able to control it? Secondly, they say that the Prime Minister has also not gone for campaigning in Manipur. So you are afraid of the
It
situation.
is not
in
question of
Manipur.
afraid. Prime Minister has not come to Arunachal for campaigning because he has come so many times in the past. Prime Minister has come to Arunachal 8 times. Prime Minister has gone to Manipur 8 times. So, you can't be just judgmental just because of one election campaign rally and all. So, Prime Minister's love for the Northeast cannot be questioned because Northeast started seeing the light of the development only under Modi's regime. The earlier time it was only token development. Unfortunate incident which we had witnessed in Manipur is because of the conflict between two different groups. It's basically ethnic misunderstanding. Prime Minister from the rampart of the Red Fort on the 15th August had said in the beginning of his speech that the whole nation is with the people of Manipur. Now, people will not discuss about that. These people, opposition people, they will always say that Prime Minister is silent. Prime Minister said in the Lok Sabha also that country stands with Manipur. Let us bring peace in Manipur. We appeal to both the factions.
But will you be able to bring them together, because there
That is what we have to do.
major divide?
That is what we have to do. Anybody who wants to see peace in Manipur must appeal to both the factions to come together, have a dialogue and be, together as we used to be in the past, We used to see occasional clashes in the past also, but there was always coexistence. And you have to coexist. You can't throw out one community out of that state. It is a shared territory. They have to live together.
As we almost come to the end of the interview, Minister, I want to ask you this. There is a lot of talk that goes on in Delhi in the power corridor. Then Minister Rijiju was the happiest when he was the sports minister. So much so there are rumors that even till date you answer calls of all the athletes who directly call you. Of all the ministries that you have been, your favorite ministry?
See, sports is a passion for me.
We don't see much videos though these days of you.
Well, I am occupied in other ministries and election, just meetings and all. But what I want to tell you is, sports was my passion. So as a sports minister, I had tried to galvanize the sporting fraternity. So I used to be accessible to the sports persons or all the stakeholders. But everybody does that in our government. But surprisingly, you will be very surprised, I enjoyed the Earth Sciences Ministry so much because now I am meeting the scientists, going to Arctic, going to the ship, research vessels, going to all these scientific research centers and all, which were, kind of a unique area where I was totally unaware about. As a minister, I must be very honest. I was not aware of so many, first-class, world-class institutes which we had in our country. Now I am going and seeing that National Center for Ocean Development, Polar Development. I've gone to National Institute of Ocean Technology, National Center for Coastal Research, India Meteorological Department. I went to Arctic, I went to attend the climate summit and all. So, the Ministry of Earth Sciences has given me a new opening. I learned so much.
What is it that the nation does not know? And what is it that you can reveal? Keeping in mind today that when I was reading about just about 2 instances that I also want our audience to know. The technology that has also been used recently during a rescue operation has resulted in finding which did not happen for a very, very long time had it not been for the procurement of a particular instrument. Second is with regards to the expedition that is going to take place and the very fact that in Antarctica you are looking at a year-long scientific experiments to be carried out. What do you think could be the game changer?
See, one important thing I must share with you is the blue economy concept which Prime Minister is pushing. How much India can gain from vast ocean in our national wealth, in our quest to become Atmanirbhar, developed India, how much ocean will contribute. Our Samudrayan project is going very well. So, Chandrayaan, Gaganyaan, Mangalyaan, then we have Samudrayaan. We would be the fifth country to send human beings in the depth of around 6,000 meters in that submersible. We have called it Matsya. It is under construction, and within the winter of 2024, we would be testing it in a depth of around 500 meter. But by 2025 and or 26, we should be sending our Samudrayaan in the deepest of the ocean bed. We would be progressing a lot in climate management. We would be very precise in not only climate prediction, but in terms of understanding and managing the climate change. We would also be doing lots of other things in terms of our geoscience. Seismologically, the world is not that advanced. We can't predict earthquake. We would be also giving services to the fishermen and the farmers precisely through our informations, through satellite. The weather satellites which we have now, recently we launched the INSAT 3D. We would be one of the few countries who would be giving a long-term forecast. We are acquiring the high-power computer, the supercomputer. And then our Arctic station is also now permanent. It used to be part-time. You know, we used to send our research team for only 3 months. Now our scientists and research team will stay year-round, you know, in Arctic, where I had also stayed there. In all this scientific area, you know, going inside the deep sea to understand and also to see that what are the resources which we can get and use in a sustainable manner. We can't exploit ocean. We have to use it in a sustainable manner as the target set by the United Nations. So these are the new frontiers. My Ministry of Earth Sciences is embarking on, you know, so many things at the same time. I feel these are extremely important because for a nation to become a great country, you must advance in science. Science and research, these are critical components in nation's growth. That is why Prime Minister has added Anusandhan, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan by Atalji, that Jai Anusandhan by Modi ji. So that is how Modi ji has given so much emphasis on science and research.
Last, as we end, your prediction, as the opposition says, the 400 par is a jumla.
I think the nation will bless Modi ji and NDA, and we are well on course to get to the 400 par figure, and the first phase election is on 19th, starting from my state, from Arunachal Pradesh northeast and some parts in Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu and all. I think the 400 par slogan is actually a slogan which has come from the people. Modi ji has echoed it, but slogan is started by mass, the people of India.
Well, thank you very much, Minister Rijiju, and I'm hoping that in the month of June we'll meet once again, and hopefully you'll do yet another interview telling us what's next for you and the government. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and nice chatting to you in the midst of my election campaign.
Thank you. Thank you.